Hey guys, this is Wilson coming at you, bringing you the movement. I'm here with the Shepherds of the Men. It's Cam.
Woo!
JP.
Of the men.
Of the men.
Shepherds of the men. What's
Shepherds
up, bro?
of
How are
the
you,
men.
man?
Doing great, dude. This has been awesome. And then obviously we have O in the background doing all these magical tools, making us sound good.
Yeah.
So
Making that beard
Magical
look good.
tools.
My God.
for real,
Bringing beard back strong.
he's a straight up Viking, dude. He's got the axe, the helmet, and he's just got to get a shield. I don't know if he's got that.
Dude, if Beard Struggle doesn't sponsor that, man, they're screwing up.
For real. Woods Viking over there, and they'd be like, here's
Ranked
a
Productions.
spokesperson.
Ranked Productions.
Ranked
Yeah.
Productions. But, yeah, man, we have had a wild ride in the last couple of weeks with Shepherds of Men in a good way. A lot of growth, a lot of development, and we want to dedicate this episode to talk about
God.
what's coming.
Oh, sorry.
What's coming down the pipe.
I was going to pour one out for my homies. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. But seriously, I'm excited about what's coming, and I think you guys as a listener should be too. You know, honestly, it's going to be beneficial for you if you really want to take yourself to the next level as a man. It's definitely going to be beneficial for you to go through our MEN Reforged program that we're developing. Here and now, we're going to be talking about a few things on the concepts, but not going into a ton of detail. We're just going to give you just a little bit of a flavor of what to
Coach
expect.
Burt would say, taste the ice cream.
Taste the ice cream.
It's just a little ice cream.
Just a little.
You haven't heard that joke.
They still do samples during COVID? I don't know if they do.
Yeah, they
Oh,
do
yeah.
samples, yeah. Because
Is
you
that
got
still-
the
is that still a thing?
sampled spoons.
COVID, not the ice cream.
Oh, COVID's not a thing. It never was a thing.
Just
to
having
me.
some fun. Just having some fun.
Like,
If
It
you-
was.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
It was a
No,
thing.
it wasn't.
You know you can double mask now.
Oh,
no,
wow.
no. COVID is a real thing.
No, it's not.
Let's make sure.
The thing
Wilson,
that
I'm
was
going to agree to disagree on that.
I know. I'm
the
just
thing
messing.
that was created around it was bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Like less than a
Lord.
1% chance of dying, and you're going to shut down the whole entire country.
Biden,
Shut your
Biden was
freaking
talking
face.
shit about Trump. Talking shit
here we
about
go.
Trump. Not well. He ain't got no plan. He ain't got no plan for it. We've been into it and stuff like that. I have a plan. I can eradicate it and stuff like that. And Donald
Then he
Trump's
gets
dragging his feet, and then he gets in office and he's like, "There is no plan."
Except he didn't say it
Dumbass.
nearly that boldly because he's about to
No.
fall over at
Right.
any moment.
Well,
So,
somebody was working his arms, so
Yeah.
it was like, "There is no
that's
plan."
why he's having a hard time putting that pin in his pocket.
Somebody's got a stick working his arm back there.
You realize he only has like a few minutes of time. That he can actually
Not
talk.
even days, just
Yeah.
minutes.
Just
back
minutes.
there going, "Damn it, Barack! Don't move
I know,
it so
right?
fast. He can't get the pen in there."
Wow.
So, anyways, we were talking about what?
No, this is great. We haven't really cut it loose and just kind of be, not formal or whatever. The last couple of episodes have been power packed with some really good information, some good information about a multimillionaire on how you could take your life to the next level, or your business if you are into that type of thing. Coach Burt can definitely bring out the best in you if you're into that. And then we also had Trevor. What?
If you're into being better than you were,
Well, if you are, I mean, hey, some people
Yeah.
would think that they're content and they want to be where they're
I
at.
got
and,
a strange feeling at this point they're not listening to us if they just want to be the
That's
same.
true. That's true.
It's probably not a good idea because you probably feel worse about yourself every time.
Unless it's either pure entertainment value or what size shirt does Josh have on?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's the only reason I'm
All
watching.
our
right
visual learners.
Huge. I'm wearing huge.
now. And
today.
thank you, Josh, for building our YouTube
Yeah.
subscriptions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just keep doing your thing, working
Yeah,
out, and
yeah.
all that good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll come shirtless. You come without pants on.
Okay, I guess show the booty.
Show the booty.
That's what the table's for.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to see what's below this.
Yeah.
He does, but I don't.
Oh, wow.
So, okay,
So if you're still with us-
backstory. So, if you're listening to this, we're going to go ahead and explain this. Chris Wilson has a very voluptuous keister on him. And for a man, it's uncomfortably large and nice and round and
Wow.
fit and tabletop kind of thing.
Wow.
But no,
Yeah,
I'm
he
just
has dreams about me at night, dude.
I'm
This
just-
is weird.
man, that makes you more uncomfortable.
That was like
than
It
does me.
does.
That was that
It
Kamala
does.
laugh. Like I'm laughing because it's true. But, I'm trying not to. Yeah.
It's funny. No, but in all seriousness, it's pretty funny. Like it's
It's kind of scary.
yeah.
But anyway, enough
right.
about my ass.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
You're just jealous, Cameron.
I mean, a little, but that's why I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, hey,
Because
So-
me and you are sitting on our backs right now.
I got extended back.
this is good.
Look
We haven't
at-
had this in a
It's like
minute.
inner shaft. You just measure it all.
Yeah, right.
And O's sitting over there going, God, I'm glad they're not talking about me.
So glad that
Volleyball did him well.
So glad I can edit a lot of this out.
Yeah. There's a lot
But I'm not
of
going to
squats.
because it'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about what's new with you guys and all of us collectively, and then let's dive in. So, whoever
So
wants to
what's
share.
new is about to make a very sizable investment that is going to benefit Shepherds of Men big time in the future. It's going to be a place where men are going to be able to get together. There's going to be a really nice area that has a lot of square footage that we can create some of these masterminds and these getaways and really, like, I mean, in all seriousness, really be impactful for men. A place for men to get together, men to talk about how men can become better, and it's going to be in a beautiful setting overlooking some nice valleys and stuff like that. Probably have some 10, 12 point bucks walking around and stuff. It's a gorgeous area. It's coming. I'm not going to say anything about it specifically right now, but it's going to be really, really cool to see, over the next year, that coming together and stuff. So
it'll be one of the top venues in the country, quite frankly. And it'll be a multi-use type place. But specifically for this conversation, man, it's going to be a place where, as we're going to talk about the MEN Reforged initiatives here soon, and the high carbon boot camps that we're going to do there. And
Pumped.
To be honest with you, man, I think it's going to just drop jaws. I mean, like when people pull up, it's going to be like, holy crap, and that's going to be just seeing it. And then what's going to be even cooler is that the content and the growth that will happen inside those walls, and really probably even more outside those walls, in the woods and whatever. It's going to change lives. It's really going to change lives. It's an amazing vision that honestly I don't think we had for that venue to start with, and now that we're understanding how we can take SOM to another level and realizing how we can physically surround people with other people and do what we've been talking about lately, which is calling men to something greater. Helping them pull that thing out of them that's been in there since they've been born. They just got to discover it. And yes, as we've been talking about a lot lately, put themselves in a position for it to discover them, And I think that's going to be an environment where that'll happen a lot.
It's going to be fantastic. Like, it really is. Like, it gets me giddy. Yep. Like, I've got butterflies just thinking about it, because I can see that thing packed out with 50, 60, 100 guys that are all in there that are going to make a huge difference. I think they say on average a person meets 50,000 people in their lifetime. And if you can change the life of 10 people and those people meet 50,000 people kind of thing. So from a higher level, and it's what we've always talked about, SOM, the movement, the intention is to create a larger platform to impact more people, because we know that the message that we're sharing right now, I know we have a lot of fun with this, and entertainment's part of it, because the last thing you want to do at 5 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning, whenever you get up and you're driving to work, is listen to a dull-ass podcast. But in all
much rather
seriousness,
listen to a podcast about Wilson's ass.
About Wilson's ass, yes,
absolutely.
But it's gonna be fun. I can already see it. I can see it. I can see a bunch of guys sitting in there getting hyped up about what they're gonna do and the impact they're gonna make in their community, man. And I'm freaking stoked about that. Like, I can't wait.
Likewise.
Oh,
Likewise. So I'm pumped about what 2021 is going to be. I'm glad 2020 was out, and we're in a new year, which is even better. Actually, 2020 was actually really good for us. Coming down to it now, I'm doing my taxes and stuff. I was like, oh, actually,
decided that'd be a good idea.
we grew. Okay, good. I'm happy with that.
I wish I lived in just like
your head for a little.
I knew the check account was growing. I mean,
I wish I lived in your ignorant bliss, is what I was trying to
love
say.
it.
That's what I said, in your head. For every once in a while, I need to take a dive into the hot tub. Like, you don't want to stay there. You just want to get in for a little.
Well, I mean, somebody told we've been.
I'm not trying to fully submerge. You know what happens in hot tubs? I just want to go chest deep.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's going over my head. Whatever y'all are saying. I'm so focused on what I'm trying to say.
Get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out.
So the thing is I just focus on what I need to do, and everything else will just come. So I'm not worried about the checking count and all this other stuff. I take care of my bills. I know I'm responsible, but at the same time, it's just like All of that will come together as long as I do the work.
Yeah.
If I do the work, everything else will come to play.
Yeah, but I
And-
still think like budgeting and stuff like
Oh,
that's
yeah, I've got a
important because
budget.
then you know.
Yeah, I've got a budget.
Okay,
And I follow it.
All right. Well, you got high pitched right there. So.
Typically, that happens.
Yeah.
Now I'm not like Cam over here. Now I know your budget and how you do. You're like to the penny. Like you're
Literally to
to the penny.
Literally to the penny.
I don't do that. I have a ballpark budget of where I need to stay in, and as long as
I'd
I
love
stay
to
with
see
that,
your
we're good.
ballpark.
Well, I mean, I have an idea.
I would have to guess it's probably one of the larger ballparks. I mean, I'm thinking 100,000 seater. I'm not thinking this is like a Division II stadium. I'm thinking this is like LSU or something.
But yeah, no, I have a budget. I know what my expenses
I have
are,
a budget. That's like
and I
saying,
know what I need to make, and I just go after making it.
There you
And
go.
then
There
if
you
I
go.
make that
Yep.
money, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's good.
All the other stuff, I don't have to worry about sweating.
no, there's certainly don't get bogged down with it. You know, I'm very OCD and anal about the stuff, and part of that is because that's my nature and my personality, but part of it's because I have spent 68 cents to get gas before.
Right.
You know, and like so when you think pennies aren't important, just do that once.
Yeah.
And let that be all you had. And I don't get bogged down with it, but I do track it.
Oh yeah.
I do track it, and there'll be a point when I don't, but I don't know what level that's going to be. I really
well,
don't.
you've created a habit. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah,
Yeah. For
and
you,
whether it's a good one or a bad one, I don't know, but it is one for sure.
yeah. I heard somebody just real quick while we're talking about this though. I was listening to somebody that was talking about creating schedules, and keeping a calendar. And they were saying, one of the reasons why all you knuckleheads can't keep a calendar is because you look at it as like a prison.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do this. The way you should look at it is, of course, you're going to have responsibilities that you have to take care of. But if you could build a day, and you could build a perfect day, relatively speaking, with your responsibilities, what would your day look like? You pepper in things that you want to do in there, but you
Yep.
put your responsibilities in there too. Then you create a day that you actually want to go attack the next day. Don't create a day that's like a jail cell that's like, I'm going to do all this crap that I don't want to do all day long, kind of thing. So that was a side note. So that was free.
No, it's a
free
good point.
advice.
I mean,
It is a
even
good
with
point.
my budget, like, when I started doing that, it was because I had to be strict about my money.
Yeah.
And now I still think it's smart to be wise about your money, but there's certainly times when we blow the budget. I mean, but I'm not anxious about those times like I used to be because I know where all my money's at. So if I blow the budget, it's a very intentional, like, if we do that, I'm good with it.
Yep.
So.
Well, to my defense, there was a time that I had a lot of bills and a lot of debt and
I
a lot of
remember.
crap.
Yeah, I remember.
So once we paid all that off, it was like, I don't have a lot to keep up with. I know those 3 bills are going to come out every single month, and that's all I care about.
Well, and that's kind of the surface level of why you should get out of debt.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes life easier. Like,
Oh, my goodness.
I remember getting to that point where it was like, is it really only like 2 things I'm paying this month? Because it used to be 12.
Yeah.
So it was funny because once we, obviously we're, about to undergo a very large purchase, right? So we're working with some finance companies and stuff like that on how to get, the money and best rates and stuff. And I had a guy, a financial officer that called me today and he was like, okay, so we're good. And I was like, what do you mean we're good? And he was like, well, we can, on the loan, here's the terms of the loan, stuff like that. And I was like, dang, that easy? And he was like, well, when you don't have a shit ton of debt lined up all down through there, it was pretty easy to analyze. I mean, what you make versus what you're spending is a pretty good debt to income ratio and stuff. So it really wasn't much of a question.
Did you find it funny, like how many, like on the debt side, like how many columns or rows there were?
Dude.
And I was like, I had like one listed in there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of blank spaces,
Yeah, I think there was probably 20 of them down through there, and there was 2 different columns of it. Like one of them was standard stuff like mortgage and car, like stuff that most people have, and then there was like a whole line of stuff like next to it that was like other stuff. Like, God, how
More
much
stuff.
other do you have?
Hey, honestly, I mean, there was a time in my life where I could have filled out that whole damn paper.
Oh,
Yeah?
man.
I mean,
I don't
that
think
was awful.
I don't think I've ever.
Part of it was right after I got married.
Well, my wife has always been very, very frugal about stuff. Like, she has buyer's remorse like nobody's business.
That's my wife.
She struggles, man. She does not like to pay for stuff to the point where she'll complain about something not being good, but won't buy the good stuff. I'm like, we need to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
No, I kind of get that. Me and your wife are wired a lot alike.
Yeah, probably right.
My wife, she'll grab the item, walk around the store, and before we even leave, she puts the item back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, just buy it. I already said you could buy it, so buy it.
See, if I make a decision, I'm
I'm
buying
done.
it. I'm a
I'm buying
buyer, not a
Yeah,
shopper.
me too.
I don't
like
generally
to
shop for stuff. I'm like, you know what I need? I need one of these.
I'm
I'll make it
recovering.
that.
I used to be more of a shopper.
I'm recovering.
I am recovering. Like I used to be more of a shopper, and it was literally like, oh, that cheese is $3.94. This cheese is $3.72. I'm gonna go with the $3.70. Dude, it's literally like there was.
It ain't worth my mental
It's
energy.
not. It's not. No, I'm not telling you that's a good thing. That's
Yeah.
stupid. Unless you are really in that bad a shape financially, in which case you probably should just skip the cheese. I'm just telling like it is. You just need a hamburger, not a cheeseburger.
Why don't you get that government cheese?
Yeah. But now I'm more like I don't really look at stuff. I'm just like I know what I need, I know what I want, I know what I prefer. And like I'd rather enjoy life. But you got to find that balance for you and for your bank account.
Just live below your means.
Live below your means,
Yep.
That's
and then
huge.
when you get to a point where your income is increased and you have more resources, then still live below your means, but live at a higher level, just still below your means.
It's like we talked about with integrity too. Like one of the big things that we've talked about with the Men Reforged is integrity, and the integrity portion of what you do is not just how you treat people, but how you treat your commitments. Right?
Mhm.
Like if you got in debt.
You better pay for that.
Don't go be living a life of luxury if you owe a shit ton of money. Pay the damn money back. Live below your means. Pay the money back. That's integrity. I mean, in itself,
But
right
aren't
there.
they just going to forgive student loans? Aren't they?
Oh my god.
Well,
They shouldn't.
yeah. I mean,
No,
sure.
there's a friend of mine named Justin, and he posted something recently about his aggravation. He's like, okay, so since I didn't go to college and I started working right out of high school and worked my ass off and he owns his own company now. He does like roofing and siding and windows and all this different kind of stuff. Real successful, and still, I think he's probably 30s, maybe pushing 40, whatever. And he's like, so since I did all that, should I get some like things paid to me?
Absolutely.
Should I get some credits or something like that since I didn't take out the loan?
What's the average student loan that's going to be paid off?
Yeah.
And I need a credit.
But then
And people are like,
you do
"What?"
realize where this money is going to come from.
Us,
All the people who are
producers.
paying for the
But
taxes.
it's the same thing with the stimulus check,
Yeah.
right?
Right, same
Like I don't agree with the stimulus check at all. But if you're giving money out like that, then I'll take some of mine back.
I will,
Right.
but you know what's crazy is you get the stimulus check, and ours came in through, I didn't even realize it because it's a separate account that we just have for business stuff that I don't even use, and that's the one that they had, and they auto deposited it in there, and I'm just like, that's cool because I'm about to have to do taxes. I'm just going to send it right back to you.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't stimulate shit. I'm just sending you the money right back because I own my own businesses, and I'm going to drop however many thousands of dollars in taxes here in about a month. I'm just going to give it right back to you. So I appreciate you just offsetting that a little bit.
Well, see, what's bullshit about that is I won't even get it. And the people that get it, I've paid in probably 6 times the amount of tax that they paid. That blows my mind. That's like the whole argument about, hey, rich should do their part. They should pay more.
Right.
Like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean pay more? Do you realize that they paid more in a year than you've produced over the last 10 in taxes? Think about that. What do you mean do their part? If they pay a percentage and you pay a percentage that's the same percentage they pay, that's doing their freaking part in my mind because they're paying way more into this country than you are.
Well, let's go back to this. It's a mentality thing. So, like, how many of those people do you think are sitting around coming up with badass venue ideas that will generate millions of dollars and create jobs that will allow them to produce for themselves and multiple other families? None of them.
Yeah, but that's just because you're greedy.
Yeah, right. Or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. You got balls. I don't know. Maybe something else. But seriously, but there's risk involved. They don't want to do that because it can be risky or it's scary or it's there's whatever. It's new ground. You got to learn new stuff. You got to try new.
Or maybe you're on the phone at 10 p.m. with your business partner talking about financials and stuff like that while they're sitting there watching Netflix or something, and you're putting in 40 hours a week on top of your job so that you can get things rolling.
We were literally filling out credit apps at 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
And honestly, it's more entertaining to me than doing something else.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that. I mean, I really would. Like, maybe I'm weird, but I'd rather do shit like that.
So,
what do you do in your downtime? Other shit.
Yeah. So here's a note to you. If you're not where you want to be at in life, then put your head down and grind, man. Stop thinking that the hours outside of your job or whatever are for rest and relaxation only.
Right.
And I mean, to be honest with you, if you only need an hour or two to yourself or your family or whatever you need to do. But if you're in that grind stage of your life, you're in your 20s and 30s, man, grind. Stop talking about I put in a good 8 hours today at work, I'm done. Like that old adage, like if you can put in 8 hours to a business that's not yours, then why in the hell can't you invest time in yourself?
Right.
Kind of thing.
Well, it's just like it's a mindset shift or a mindset shift. Just like what Trevor was talking about whenever he was looking to go rent a condo. He was like, well, how can we buy this so that way we can go there for free? You just got to think of ways to create money. Money's all out there. There's ways to make money. You just got to find
There's
it.
so much, dude.
There's so much.
And we so take for granted in America. Like there's so many ways to create more revenue. And then what's crazy, there's that whole thing about, well, you got to have money to make money.
Not really.
No, but once you have some, it's a lot easier to make more.
Exactly.
Well, so the thing about it is, it's like that natural kind of thing of like reproduction and stuff like that. When you put a lot of little $100 bills together, they have a lot of little $100 bill babies. Like that's what starts to happen.
And then the commas start showing up.
Yeah, because and I think some of that has to do with you become more financially intelligent. Like you start to learn. Like it's just like we talked about, like with this huge undertaking that we're about to. This is no little thing, and we're talking to like bankers that deal with millions upon millions of dollars, and they're like, it's a stressful time, it's whatever, and like Cameron spoke about in previous episodes. For us, it's not, because we know what we're capable of, but the stuff that you learn along the way is going to be so valuable. That's why I look so for like the portions of this where people are like, I don't want to do that. It's risky. It's scary. It whatever. For me personally, I'll walk away from this 10 years down the road, and that guy 10 years from now will look at the Josh of today and go, thank you for doing that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you for taking a step. And not only from the revenue standpoint, but what you learn in the process. Some people aren't willing to step into the pool to even figure out how cold it is.
Well, here's another thing.
So true.
Let me ask y'all too, because y'all are in this process together. Is it beneficial that you took the time and researched a company that was reputable that could help you walk you through this process versus if you both were to go do this together without that information and just, let's just see what happens?
Well, two things. Like if you think investing in yourself is bad, then like stop thinking it. Stop. I mean, like we talked about that with Coach Burt, like what we're doing with Shepherds of Men and where it's going to go from what we've been doing organically to this point to where things are moving as we talk about the Men Reforged initiatives and the high carbon boot camps and the all the webcasts and all the stuff we're going to do in this program. It's going to be amazing, but we needed somebody to guide us, and we had to invest in ourselves to figure out how to do that because we didn't know how. So, same thing with this venue. I mean, the very first thing that our good friend and commercial banker told us was one of the best things y'all could have ever done was invest in that company that has consulted you along the way. Although it cost you money on the front end, and with we're investing money with zero return or even potential for return for a period of time. The bank will look at you so much more strongly that we feel good about lending money to you because you're not just trying to figure this out. You're not just two couples trying to figure out what's going on. You're working with people that have done this over and over and over again.
Well, and that goes back to what we've said in the past. You want the truth, follow the money.
Yep.
If you want the truth, follow the money. Talk to a banker. A banker's going to tell you the truth because you know what the banker's interest is? The bank.
Right.
Not you. It's the money and how they get their money back. So when a banker looks at you and goes, wait a minute, you have a mentor? Who's your mentor? Who's talking to you about all this stuff? Oh, okay. So you guys hired a consulting company that has been doing weddings for decades, and they've built wedding venues, and they've done designs for wedding venues and stuff, and they've been in the game and stuff like that. Okay, good deal. That tells me more than anybody going, hey, that's a good job. You should do whatever you... When the banker looks at you and goes, oh, okay, best decision you guys made. Mm-hmm. That goes for your life, too. Yep. I don't care if you don't have to be running a venue. If you're listening to this and you're just trying to figure out which direction to go, we've talked about this before. A mentor or somebody who has been where you want to go, pursue them. Ask them,
Yeah.
hey, man,
Pay
can I
them.
buy lunch?
Yes.
Can I buy lunch for you? I just want to sit down for an hour. And Cameron, I think I heard you say that once with your pastor.
Yep.
You were like, hey, look, dude, I'll take you out to lunch. Like, I want an hour of your time.
I'm
where we
still
can
having
kinda
that. I was texting with him the other day,
Yeah.
like literally this week. I'm like, I'm trying to lock down another time because he's starting to play at a really high level.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I'm
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, exactly. Well, and if you're listening, that's gold.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that is gold. That will pay dividends for you for the rest of your life, and I can promise you that. So if you're worried about getting a mentor because, oh, well, I'm just little old me, I'm just little, whoever, I haven't really done anything. That's fine. There's a lot of guys out there, and like we just had Coach Burt on the podcast to talk about some business sense and stuff. Guy's a multi-millionaire, but you know where he's at in his life? He wants to give back. He wants legacy. He wants to, and that's where most of those guys that are at a high level are right now. That's what they want. So,
but you're going to have to pay to play for somebody like that.
Sure.
Their time is more valuable than you because they've created something that they can give back to you. They're basically what we end up investing into Shepherds of Men with Coach Burke was able to drill down in a 3-day process, 23 years of experience.
Oh, yeah.
That's priceless in itself, no matter what the cost was. So the investment part is nothing if you put work and action into it behind the scenes. Now, if you just go and learn and just get a degree, you ain't doing nothing with that degree, then that's just a waste of time and money. And then you do have a right to be pissed, but be pissed at yourself.
Well, you go talk to any successful individual, and like we've talked about in the past, you talk to any successful individual, there was a time when the road diverged and they found somebody. They found somebody that made an impact in their life. You go talk to somebody successful that manages millions of dollars and stuff like that. Go look at their financial advisor. Go look at what they spend on lawyers. Go look at what they spend on their CPAs and stuff like that. I guarantee you they don't shortchange it.
Right.
They find the best that they can find to get advice from. Information is king.
Yep.
And when you have, so to your question, was it different than, me and Cam doing it? Absolutely. Me and Cam could have figured it out. I have no doubt in my mind we could have figured it out, but we would have spent a shitload more money doing it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that people miss is you'll actually spend more money and more time, which really translates to more money, and more heartache if you try to do it on your own, and I'm thinking about this as kudos to producer Odin over here. We've seen him invest in himself, and he's started Rank Productions, and he's invested in awesome equipment. And every time I've come in here, he's talked about the next like he's talking about getting we got cameras in here now. Like he's gonna get some other ones, like he's trying to play at a high level, and now he's going through boot camps and coaching seminars and things like that to take his brand off. And I think it's awesome, man. Like he was talking to me earlier before we started recording, and it's like you could see a fire in his eye about the investments he was making in himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was the cool, because we get that. Like he's talking about the cash he's dropping on the things he's doing. And some people would be like about to shit themselves, or whatever. And he was getting the fact that this is a positive thing. Like
Right.
I got no issue. This is not like I'm losing money. This is me making money.
And then along the way, you get some people who will give you feedback of like, dude, great job. Like Coach before he left, he goes, dude, this
setup's awesome.
This is what did he say? It's the real deal.
Yeah. And that's, one of the funny things about it is, and this is something I think I'll pride myself in for the rest of my life, is every day that I pull up to my house, I get out of my truck, I look at it, and I'm like, you're driving a 2007 Toyota Tacoma.
Don't rub it in. I went a long time without
It's okay. I'm not saying the delayed gratification. Trust me, I'll drive a nice truck.
I'm still 2 years old.
Once I get where I want to be. But there's a part of it, I look at that, and I'm like, I drive a 2007 Toyota Tacoma, and I am investing amounts of money where I could buy any truck that I wanted.
Right.
Any truck.
Cash.
It doesn't really matter. I could pay cash for any truck that I wanted, but instead, I am investing large amounts of money into things that are long-term vision goals for me. And I've always been a big proponent of do something today that your later self will thank you for. Mm-hmm. And you think about that. Like, what will Josh in 10 years turn around and look at me today and go, thank you for doing that.
That's the point. That's good.
And I think the reason we kind of got off, I don't even know that we meant to go down this trail for this
it's good.
episode, but
It's all
I
coming
think
together.
what it's saying to me for people that are listening is we understand how valuable investing in yourself is. in ourselves as well, and we're going to continue to do that because
Oh, yeah.
the only way that we can pour out is if our cup is full.
Right.
So, and we believe that a large portion of the purpose of our life is to pour out into others, and to impact others, and inspire them to be called to something greater, and to do what they're really supposed to do when they're here on earth. And that's why we formed Shepherds of Men, and that's why we're forming this MEN Reforged program. That's why we're doing these different things. That's why we've taken the time for free to spend 3 hours on a call. To really and not that was one call. Yeah. That we're really like, let's hammer out some things now. And then since that call, we've been continuous follow-up, constantly communicating every day about, okay, how are we developing this program? So as people like start investing in themselves and join this program, they just, and I know they will, but understand that this is not like, hey, here's some cool words, here's a cool idea, let's throw it up on a whiteboard and charge some people money for it.
Yep.
No, this is literally hours and hours and years plus of learning and growing and developing and making sure there's content, making sure there is something of value, packaging things the right way where it can be digestible, all this different stuff. And we're not done yet. We're still working on it and going through it with a fine-tooth comb and dotting the I's and crossing the T's and all those other cliche things you say. And it's going to be amazing. It will be absolutely game-changing for anybody that decides to not just be a part of it, but participate and do what Wilson said, which is take the coaching and apply it to your life. And it's nothing that's necessarily groundbreaking as far as the principles, but I do believe that we have a very unique standpoint as different backgrounds, different upbringings, different influences, but a common voice.
Yep.
One, and our principles of our life are in line. So our core principles are there where we can have a voice that can truly change the trajectory of man. I believe that, and I know you all believe that too, sitting here.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what we're about. And that's why God put us here, in my opinion, was to pursue this path and create a channel for other men that have been in the same position we've been in, where we're sitting there going, there's got to be more. There's more in me. How do I get it out? What do I do with it when I get it out? Like, where do I apply it? All those different things that if you're listening right now and that stuff is churning in you, it's just a matter of, as Coach Burt would say, it's a matter of getting around a good coach. It's a matter of getting around somebody that's impactful or influences. It's associating with somebody different. It's creating different habits in your life, different disciplines. Wilson may be about to go through some of those 6 characteristics.
Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon for us, and this is the reason why it's progressed to this point, for people to reach out to us to want to go deeper, wanting to get more, wanting to learn more, even be personally mentored by one of us at the table. And the reason why we're doing the Men Reforged is to drill that down to those who are serious. Those who are serious about taking your so you come into this world, I believe, and our personal beliefs is that you're made by the Creator and you are perfect. But as life goes through and you're going through the journey of life, you get impurities come onto you. You get rusted. You get lazy. You get bent out of shape. You get all these different pieces to you, as if you're looking at yourself as in this symbolic idea, as a sword. So we're going to refine you. We're going to reforge you back to your original state and then make you better. And help, not better than what you're found, like the God, the Creator created you to be, but bring out the best that you were meant to be. So that when you do go to battle, you can actually freaking cut somebody's head off.
We want you to be sharp as hell.
Yeah, dude. I want you to be sharp. And if you're not sharp, you're doing a disservice to you, your family, and the men around you, because you're an example. And that's the core of all of this, is that you are the example that people are looking to. And I know there's part of my life that I didn't realize people were looking at me. And man, I hope I didn't screw them up. But I found out like there was a lot of people that were influenced by me. And you are influencing somebody in your life. Yep. You just got to understand that. Now, is it a positive influence or a negative? So these core characteristics of what a man is and where it starts from is first your association. Now, we all know, and we've talked about this, I think we even dedicated an episode more or less about why association is so important. Like if you hang around a certain crowd of people, or if you were, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with the cops, if you are hanging around with somebody who has weed on them, you are guilty by association, no matter what.
Why's it got to be
I
weed?
think that's an old law.
Why
Well,
can't
it's
we
an
just
old
say
law.
drugs?
Okay, let's say drugs.
There we go.
Well, it used to be
Is
a
weed
lot,
still a
but-
drug?
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. Hopefully they'll pass it and say it's not. But anyway,
Why
My favorite is that to tell if somebody has ever smoked weed or not and stuff is when like people are like, "Are you on weed?"
on weed. Yeah, are you on weed? Shut your mouth.
Stop talking to
Right.
me.
Inner Circle, quality over quantity
There
is
you go.
episode 62.
yep. So we went into
a good episode.
detail about that.
Go check it out.
We also, on Coach Burke's episode, 2 episodes prior to this one, went into those in depth and his feedback on it. So check that out too. But association is vitally important. If you're definitely wanting to become something better, you can't hang around with crap. You've got to hang around with the right people that's going in the right direction. And I know there's everybody who's like, oh, I have a buddy of mine. You know, he's just been a lifetime friend of mine. Well, we don't have to, cut him off completely, but definitely put him at arm's length. You have to grow you. The more you have that friend around you, they're just going to bring you down. Or if you had a drug addiction, and you had friends that were all into drugs. I don't know why we're on drugs, but just to saying.
Who said we're on drugs?
Yeah, no, well, we're not.
We're on
But
weed.
the topic-
yeah, we're
We're on
on
weed,
weed.
yeah.
On drugs.
But I
Oh,
mean,
man.
it's the same principle as that. If you keep hanging out with him and he's smoking or drinking or doing whatever he's doing that's causing you to hiccup, I mean, you're just going to eventually get back into the old grind or the old you, and your good habit that you worked hard on is just gone out the window. So you have to cut those people out.
Well, like gravitate towards like. I heard Coach Burt say that whenever he explained what his thought of association was. And what that told me was if you want to up your association, you better up your value.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a turd, and hang out with the goldfish in the fish bowl, right? Like you got to up your game. You got to be better, because eventually those individuals in that association will do exactly what we're telling you to do with the ones that are pulling you down, and they'll start to kind of weed you out of the group. So understand that if you want to up your association, you damn sure better up your value.
I don't know if we need to go into every single one of them like we did. Just kind
I
of
was going to throw out a couple of episodes for people to reference based on these. So we were talking about integrity.
integrity's next.
And based on our conversation with Coach, it kind of helped us all see a little bit different definition of integrity. So I know that was helpful for us. So I think Stand in the Gap, which was like our 5th episode we ever did, would be something to reference on there. And then also another one, Your Word Matters. Exactly. Yep.
That's 2 good episodes. What episode was that? Your Word Matters?
Your Word Matters is the episode that I will tell you the number of here in a minute as I get done stalling,
So
as I scroll through
integrity
here
is important.
to
but
tell you what it is as soon as I find it, and then I'll bring it up
So,
again.
so essentially, these characteristics, that is the worst,
That
man.
was horrible.
Somebody's not going to get that 5 minutes back.
Oh, that wasn't that long.
So the biggest thing that I like it about what Coach Burt said, and you may have said this already, Cam, but being whole, body, mind, heart, and spirit. That was huge. I know we always think about
Episode 9.
Episode 9. Thank you guys.
You had to scroll that far from 5 to 9.
I missed it on the way. Missed it on the way.
Hey, we have over 70 episodes now, man. So that's pretty good. But that was cool. I never thought of it that way. I was always thinking, if your word matters, you say you're going to do something, do it. You're going to be there on time, be there, all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. The next one would be etiquette.
And I'll go ahead and tell you it's one of my all-time favorite titles of an episode. It's just the tips.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
It
some
sure
etiquette
is.
things in there. The title's not very much in line with good etiquette, but other than that,
It sure is.
Your first impression, this was huge. I didn't realize this. If your first impression is bad, it takes 21 positive interactions to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge. I didn't know that. I don't know if that stat's really true or not, but I'm sure Coach knows his shit. So that's
like
crazy.
67% of stats are
I
made
made
up.
up instantly, yeah.
68%. Sorry,
I would like to have
maybe it went down. I don't
maybe
know.
a Harvard study on that or
Yeah,
something, but
yeah.
that's insane.
I don't doubt it. I mean, especially from a men's perspective, like you make an assumption based off of, first impressions for sure. I think there's no doubt that first impressions are absolutely critical.
Yeah. So if you're a guy out there going, man, I don't know why I'm not getting any jobs, and you got, your hair's a mess, beard looks horrible, not
Get
clean.
that bacon collar.
Yeah, bacon collar. Your
What's
clothes
bacon
have
collar?
stains.
Where your collar's stretched out and it's all wavy because it's stretched
That's the
out.
first I've ever heard of that.
You've never heard of bacon collar?
Never heard of that.
Yeah, so don't have
Kind of
bacon
makes me
collar.
want to have one, though, because I like bacon.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to have it ironed. I mean, you need to look at like, okay, what's the best looking I can look like? And that's what your best foot forward is. And if you don't have it, figure it out. You know?
Just look. It comes down to this. How much respect do you have for yourself?
Yeah,
If you want respect from other people, how much respect do you have for yourself? If you walk in there looking nice, everything's put together, hair's combed, whatever it may be, like just be put together and walk with a certain sense of confidence and posture about you. If you come in there and, like me personally, as a hiring manager that I've done in the past, and you walk in there and I feel that you don't have enough respect for yourself to take care of yourself, it's very hard for me to get over that.
Nope.
It's very difficult. And you better be a bad motherfucker when it comes to talking and being articulate on what you have to say and super sharp.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, and this was a couple weeks back, I guess, when this happened, as far as when this episode comes out. But the guy that went to the school board in Virginia or went to wherever he went, and he went in there with a valid concern about, opening the schools back up and getting the kids in there and this whole deal. Like, he had a valid argument, and I really was on his side, but he had a toboggan on in the damn courthouse.
Right.
I'm like, bro, like, no, I can't even listen to you.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because you didn't take your toboggan off. Like, carry yourself differently. These people aren't even taking you serious right now.
And I don't care how that hurts your feelings.
I don't either.
And what's funny is we'll have people that sit out there and make excuses.
He
He should be able to wear whatever he wants.
You're right.
That doesn't change the fact that somebody doesn't give him as much respect because of that. Like, to me personally, it would have taken him more time and more thought process to put himself together before he walked in there, which automatically told me how seriously he took the situation.
Right. And everything he said I agreed with. His passion I liked. But I guarantee he wasn't received well.
No.
I mean, for a lot of reasons, but mainly because, like, immediately, like, walls up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's at first impression.
Yep.
But and that's okay. You can continue to make excuses why that should be accepted.
Right.
Or you can understand the reality of the situation and sharpen yourself up a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, nobody wants somebody lazy. So if you're not put together, you're automatically thought of as you're a lazy individual who doesn't care. And nobody wants that in their employee. I wouldn't hire you. So, confidence, like JP talks about, you have to have confidence. You have to have an air of expectation. You have to come into the room and people look at you like, oh, there is somebody there. You bring a light to the room, basically, when you walk in, because you know who you are. I mean, I've walked around in a store because association network and stuff like that. And I would have somebody go, man, you just carry yourself different. I'm like, yeah, because I know who I am.
They notice that good don't.
You carry yourself different.
Wow.
Well, I'm kind of confident. No, it's because you got a huge ass.
I have to carry myself different.
You wouldn't even be able to carry this.
Right.
No, but I think the most important part of that is we're gonna teach guys how to be confident.
Yes.
Like, what are the things that you need to start doing and implementing in your life to start to create some confidence about you? And some of it will probably be uncomfortable on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it.
Probably a lot of it developing the confidence and stuff. But starting to create more of a stiff backbone where when you stand, and one of the things that I think is paramount is learning to create confidence internally, not from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gaining your confidence from other people's opinions at this point in time, you don't have confidence because you have it in somebody else's hands and it can be taken away at any time. So your confidence has got to come from internally, and we're going to teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
And if you want to reference some other episodes on that, Living with an Edge is episode 29.
That's a good one.
Very good. And then Humble Swagger is episode 45.
Another good one.
So just get your head right for some of the stuff that's coming down the pipe.
And one of the biggest things I think on this list, and all of them are very important, but I think the one that suffers a lot is your work ethic. You have to be able to work, dude. And like how Coach was saying, this guy was lazy. He called himself lazy, but he got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, worked a full day, and just he's busting in his career and stuff like that. Dude, if you're killing it and slaying it, great, cool, keep it up. But if you're not putting the time in to really make it happen. It's not going to just the fairy of goodness is not just going to come by and say, "Here you go."
Light on your shoulder.
Yeah, a little light on your shoulders. It's like you're blessed because you want to be lazy today. No, you have to fucking work.
Gosh, so lucky.
I know. Oh, you don't tell me that shit. Don't tell me that shit. You tell me I'm lucky, you're going to get punched. I'll tell you.
Right in the vagina.
Yeah, I've worked hard for this. So
some
work
big
hard.
ass dude's gonna walk up and be like, "What's up, Lucky?"
Okay, punched. I ain't gonna punch you in the face. I'm punching in the dick, dude. You that big?
Here we go.
Sorry, but anyway,
Here we
you
go.
that big?
So Grit and Grind, episode number 7. Episode number 7. Tell you a little bit about work ethic. And number 12, hustle.
Hustle, baby.
Episode 12.
You gotta have a hustle about you, man. So we're gonna teach you that, and then the last thing is creating a vision for yourself. Like, I think that's one, once you get these other things right, the vision will start to come. You'll start to see it and you'll start to visualize it. But vision is most important because it's not about you. If your vision is all about you and that what you can do and blah, 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 but you're not impacting anybody else, you're not creating what I would like to say a legacy, I mean, what are you going to be remembered for? I love Troy whenever that guy goes out to fight and the kid's like, "You're going to go fight him?" Yeah. Because my name is going to be remembered forever. Yours will be forgotten.
Yeah, he says, "I would never fight him." He's like, "That's why no one will remember you."
Exactly.
That's why no one will remember your name.
Woo! That's. I mean, if that'd get you in the fields, man. I mean, seriously, look at yourself in the mirror and say, "What are you going to be remembered for?"
So why is that stuff so attractive?
Why is that?
Which stuff?
Like Troy, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, like a lot of the older, like, so nobility,
Oh man.
things of that nature. Why is that? Because I would, if you looked at a man at his core, and I don't care what man you look at, I would say that 100% of men at their core get tugged at by stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Nobility, knights, things of that nature and stuff. And it's like, those guys didn't live easy lives.
No.
So if you're so attracted to that, and there's something about you that just tugs at you with stuff like that, then why the hell are you living this mediocre ass life?
Right.
Well, because it's become socially acceptable more and more and more. And honestly, back then, at least from what I can tell from the movies, I wasn't there. It wasn't as acceptable. And not if you, I mean, you're going to be a peasant. I guess it was maybe acceptable if you just want to be a peasant. Yeah. I just don't know too many people that want to eat scraps.
Yeah, but the argument to that is life is better today than it was back then.
I think we have more conveniences today. Mm-hmm. And I would say, this is something I've had a lot of internal dialogue recently about of what conveniences really are. And man, that it really strongly translates to distractions.
Yep.
I mean, and a weakening of the human being. I mean, it's like the more conveniences we create, the weaker we get. It really does. And it's like, and I think part of the reason I started thinking about that was Phil that I run with and work out with. He was telling me about this conversation about, is either him and his wife or him and a buddy or somebody was like, why do you do some of this stuff? And like, cause he runs, he'll go out and do 40 miles or whatever. And why do you do that? And he'll hurt. It'll take me a week, 2 weeks to recover. And he's like, well, I just feel like we live in such a convenient society and culture. He's like, I mean, everything you can pop coffee in and have it done in a minute. Like food's wherever you want it. Like you got air conditioning, you got heater in the winter, we don't want for anything really. He's like, even if you're just, what do you call middle class? Mm-hmm. Middle class, it's like, your life is so good.
Yeah.
He's like, how can you possibly grow like a man really should grow if you don't ever struggle? And so he calls it suffering. Mm-hmm. He's like, if you don't intentionally go suffer, then you probably, like most people won't ever really suffer in their day-to-day life. And if you're not suffering, you're not growing because you just have too many conveniences, And you think about these guys back in, in Troy and, Alexander the Great, that movie, or 300, like those guys, every day was suffering.
Yep.
Like, look at their damn shoes.
Yeah.
Walking around with that shit on. You're suffering just walking from place to place.
Well,
but they had a different perspective on life.
And I would agree with that. And one of the and I wanted to ask because I wanted to see what your perspective was on that, because my perspective is I think quality of life is a lagging indicator of that suffering.
Mm-hmm.
The people that came before us, the men that came before us, the reason that we have the quality of life that we have now is because they suffered so much then.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is it's a cyclical cycle, right? So it's a lagging indicator. So on the flip side, the reduction of quality of life is based off of the lack of suffering from men. So if you don't take it upon yourself to be a leader and to go through some of that suck, or suck the sour to get to the sweet kind of thing, and you don't earn your way, I guarantee you quality of life will drop, which it already has been.
That suffering variable is part of the equation.
But the quality of life where we're suffering now is just different than what it used to be.
For sure.
It's like we just talked about, idle hands are, the work of the devil. As a man, you need to work at some point to keep yourself busy, because if you don't, you're naturally destructive. I think one of the things Coach Burt said, and I'll quote him on this, you take away a man's ability to work and he becomes destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's what happens. We were talking about COVID and keeping guys isolated and stuff like that. Guys start committing suicide at a high level. They start going mentally insane. So your quality of life changes. It's more mentally. You might not be walking around in flip-flops during the wintertime, and it might not be physical like that, but it's mentally taxing. So it's different.
For sure. So, in reference to a couple of episodes for Vision, one is one that we reference a lot, which is Your Purpose is Whispering, episode 15. The other one is we did just recently, Live Fully in Your Calling, which is episode 66. So, there's going to be nuggets of that stuff in there.
Oh, yeah. So you can go and get self-taught for a little bit. Yeah. But the good thing...
You start tasting the ice cream some more.
Yeah, taste ice cream some more. We're really going to come at you. When we have these high carbon boot camps, it's going to be real, and it's going to be practical for you to take yourself to the next level. And it's going to be uncomfortable, like what Cameron's saying. There are going to be some tasks that you're going to be doing with us that it's going to probably make you cry, because you've never done it before. You've never experienced loving yourself like you should. And if you really truly care about what your legacy is going to look like, what you really want to accomplish in life, stay tuned, because it's coming. So, welcome to the movie.